Good day, everybody. This occasion, I'm going to explain about material development in terms of definition and guidelines for designing effective English teaching material. The first one, we are going to discuss about material. What is material? Material is defined as anything, any media that is used by the teachers and the learner in order to facilitate language learning. So it can be course books, mobile phone interaction, graded readers, videos, flashcards, games, websites, photocopied handout, CD-ROM, a cassette, newspapers, and a paragraph written on the board related to the language being learned. Tomlinson 2012 mentioned 5 characteristics of materials. The first one is informative. It is because the teaching materials inform the learners about the target language. Next is instructional. It is because the teaching materials guides the students in practicing the language. It's experiential because it provides experience of the language used. Next, exploratory. It is because the teaching materials help the students to discover the language used in natural settings. And then the last one is elicitative, in which the teaching materials stimulates the language use. Next, what is materials development? According to Tomlinson 2012, materials development refers to a practical undertaking which involves the production, evaluation, adaptation, and exploitation of materials in order to facilitate language acquisition and development. So, material development is viewed as a field of study because it studies the principles and procedures in designing, implementing, and also evaluating the teaching materials. And it is viewed as a practical undertaking because it involves effort of the writers and also the students in providing the source of language input, exploit it, and or in order to stimulate output. So according to Pinter 2006, teaching materials can be developed by evaluating, adapting, supplementing, and creating. So evaluating means that the existing textbooks are evaluated whether it is effective or not toward the target learners. Adapting means the authentic text can be adapted as the teaching material. Supplementing here means providing supplementary material to support the existing textbook. And the last one is creating the materials. It means that the teachers or practitioners can create their own materials, like self-designed materials. But still, it's supposed to be in frame of learning objectives. Howard and Major, 2004, proposed 10 guidelines for designing effective English teaching material. The first guideline is that English language teaching material should be contextualized. So the teaching material should be contextualized to the curriculum being addressed. So it's supposed to be in frame of the learning objective in the curriculum. And also it's supposed to be contextualized to the experience, realities, and students' first language. So the teaching materials should be able to connect something that the students already know in their first language and culture to the new language, or to the target language. And it's also supposed to be contextualized to the topic and also theme, which is meaningful and purposeful. So the teaching material is supposed to be relevant and appropriate to the target learners in order to improve their personal engagement and motivation. The second guideline is material should stimulate interaction and be generative in terms of language. It means that the teaching materials should acknowledge the communicative challenge in interactive teaching approach. The third guideline is that the teaching material should encourage learners to develop learning skills and strategies. It means that the teaching material should teach the learners to take the advantages of language the language learning opportunities in order to enable them explore their learning styles and strategies. The fourth guideline is that English language teaching materials should allow for a focus on form as well as function. It means that the teaching material is not focused on the communicative activities only, but also allow their focus on language form through the communicative activities. The fifth guideline is that teaching material should offer opportunities for integrated language use. It means that the teaching material should be designed in order to integrate the language skills. So it is not only focused on productive skills or receptive receptive skills only, but it's integrated those two types of skills. The next guideline is English language teaching materials should be authentic. It means that the teachers can adopt authentic facts in order to give experience to the learners to see, hear, and read how the native speakers communicate naturally in form of written text like in newspaper or magazine and also in spoken or visual facts like in videos or audio. The next guideline is that the teaching materials should link to each other. It means that the teaching material should be developed based on the clearly stated learning objective. So between one to another activities, there will be no gap. So it will be connected well. The next guideline is English language teaching material should be attractive. So the teaching material should be attractive in terms of the choice of the text, size of the text, and also the layout so that it will be nice to look at. And then it's supposed to be user friendly in which there are enough space for the handwriting, especially in gap fill exercises. And also it's supposed to be durable because it will be used by uh, several students in different years, for example. And also it is easy to be reproduced, so it's easy to be copied. Uh, the next one is that English language teaching materials should have appropriate instruction. So the instruction in the material should be clear. So it use appropriate and suitable language toward the target learner. So it will create concise and effective instruction. And then the last guideline is that English language teaching materials should be flexible. So it provides range of inputs in terms of uh, lesson units. So the teacher can choose which unit or which activities can be implemented in order to achieve certain learning objectives. From those explanations, it can be concluded that teaching materials includes all media that are used by the teachers and the learners to facilitate the language learning. And there are 10 guidelines that needs to be considered in designing an effective teaching material. I think that's all. Thank you.